Good evening and welcome to Sunset News this Monday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I'm Glenora Shipura, joined by Christine Krieger. Getting into the news tonight, the new president of Namibia, Nangolo Mbumba, has declared a national mourning period from the 5th of February until the funeral of President Hage Geingob. Outpours of condolence messages continue from all over the country for the late President Hage Geingob. The Oshana Regional Governor Elia Irimari signs the condolences book for the late President Hage Geingob at the Regional Council office. Irimari invited all residents of the region to visit the office to sign the book. Let's take a look.
My profound, deepest condolences to the loss of our current leader, Dr. Hage Geingob. I hereby, on behalf of my region, Shana, hereby extend my deepest condolences on my behalf and also on behalf of the residents of these regions. Given these difficult times we have found ourselves into it. Yes, and also extending my sorrows to the First Lady, Madam Monica Kinkos, and also at the same time to the Geingob families and friends and the entire nation. Yes, this is definitely, in fact, a dark cloud over the sky of Namibia, whereby for the first time, a sitting president we have lost. All of us, let be consoled during this difficult time. As to the residents of Oshana region, we have opened up a condolences book whereby everyone in the region, irrespective of social status, please, you must come to the governor's office at the second floor, whereby you can come and write your messages of condolences to the Geingob families and also for our own record keeping.
Of course, we continue mourning the iconic figure that was our late president. How did you find out about the news?
I slept in on Sunday morning, and then first thing I saw when I picked up my phone was this shocking news.
It was really heartbreaking news. Now, getting into our next story, the opening of Parliament will take place on Tuesday despite the passing of President Hage Geingob on Sunday, who was supposed to preside over the opening. Namibia's new president, Nangolo Mbumba, is expected to deliver the opening speech, and the event is anticipated to be conducted without much ceremony in light of the state mourning declared yesterday. The National Assembly will commence its 9th session in the 7th legislative term. The theme of this year's opening ceremony is enhanced public engagement to meet citizens' expectations. This is definitely a step in the right direction. I wonder, do you think it's too soon to open Parliament, considering that we are in a state of national mourning for the late President Dr. Hage Geingob?
I think many people have different opinions on this, but I think there are many issues that are still need to be addressed, and I think it's a good thing that they can continue and hopefully try to solve many of these issues.
All right. The trial of Johan Marie, who is being accused of sexually abusing and raping numerous young boys in Windhoek, was again postponed this morning. The trial was scheduled to start in August last year, but has been postponed several times due to the withdrawal of legal practitioners and the outbreak of chicken pox at the prison where he is being held. He appeared in the High Court this morning, during which his lawyer, Milton Engelbrecht, informed the court of his withdrawal. After Engelbrecht received disclosure, he realized that he knows one of the alleged victims and therefore withdrew due to ethical reasons. Marie's previous two lawyers withdrew due to untenable instructions that they received from Marie. The matter was this morning postponed to the 27th of February for Mare to obtain a new lawyer from Legal Aid. I know we've done several stories similar to this before, and you have obviously come in and commented on some of them. I know you were at court, you did the story. Do you think this is a delayed tactic, or it has some merit?
I don't think it's a tactic. I think Maria wants his lawyers to do certain things or take certain actions, and the lawyers just aren't willing to take those instructions, and then they are advised to then withdraw, because you have to do what your client tells you to do. You can't just go your own way. So if they can't convince him to take another to try something else, then they should withdraw. So that's why the previous two lawyers withdrew, and hopefully he doesn't want to represent himself, so he does want a lawyer from Legal Aid, so he'll be getting a new lawyer, and hopefully they can work together and get the trial going.
I wonder, considering that the nature of the crime that he's being accused of, it's a really heinous crime, and it's something against young boys, young children. Do you think this delayed tactics, or maybe not delayed tactics, but it has been, over the course of time being delayed, do you think it plays a role in the overall judgment at the end of the day?
I think you see that in many judgments, in many sentences. If the judge feels that you did things to delay a trial, then they will take that into consideration and give you a heftier sentence at the end. But if there's many cases where it's not the accused person's fault when the trial takes very long, so they do take that into consideration, but they not all blame falls onto the accused.
All right, I see. Now getting into our next story, the Namibia Revenue Agency, NAMRA, and the Business and Intellectual Property Authority, BIPA, recently signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at safeguarding Namibia against fraud, costing the country millions every year. During the signing, NAMRA CEO Sam Shivute said the last year investigators found that more than $100 million Namibian left the country at the hands of ghost companies, which Shivute said happens when companies use the identities of vulnerable Namibians. Last year, our investigation team picked up a syndicate that we call ghost companies. People will register businesses, go to disadvantaged people in villages and informal settlements, get their identification documents, then promise those people financial benefits. He said these companies' bank accounts are controlled by entities outside Namibia, and when the companies get money or tenders, it does not even spend 72 hours in the country before being transferred. He said, Shivute said that through the implementation of the MOU, they hope to weed out tax evaders and scam artists in Namibia. This is definitely a commendable collaboration between the two entities. Would you say we need more collaborations like these in other sectors to combat things like fraud and also corruption?
Yes, I do think so. I think there is many possibilities when it comes to this and trying to avoid fraud. I know NAMRA is doing a lot to make sure that tax evasion and all those problems are being solved. They have new systems in place to get everything digitalized and make sure that all the necessary procedures are done, and to then avoid these things from happening. So I think the NAMRA is especially doing a lot, but the other sectors can also work and try to avoid this.
And follow with what they have started. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts on some of these stories.
Big pleasure, thank you.
After the break, we'll take a look at the Erongo Regional Council that pays tribute to the late Dr. Hage Geingob.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
The Erongo Regional Council gathered at the Fisheries Auditorium today as a tribute to the late President Hage Geingob. Chairperson of the Erongo Regional Council, Benita Imbamba, shared her heartfelt condolences. Let's take a look.
Yes, I know it's not a good day today, and I believe this is for all of us. PRO and all Erongo Regional Council staff members, after all my 8 years standing behind this podium, dear bereaved colleagues, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Quote unquote. Matthew chapter 5, verse 4. I should state from the onset that it was with utmost disbelief
Federation NEF mourns the loss of a leader who was at the forefront of sculpturing our democracy. We take a look at this story in our Market Watch contribution after the break. Let's take a look at our Market Watch contribution. The Namibian Employers Federation, NEF, mourns the loss of a leader who was at the forefront of sculpturing our democracy. Its president, Elias Shikongo, said this morning, paying tribute to late leader. Shikongo said President Hage Geingob was not only the chairperson of the committee that drafted Namibia's constitution, but he also continuously emphasized the separation of power between the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch of government. Namibia today can still proudly present itself as a peaceful and stable country. Democracy, stability, functioning systems and procedures, freedom of the press, these are all prerequisites for a vast country with a small population like ours to attract investments. This is part of Dr. Geingob's legacy. He took the lead in establishing the right conditions for investment, and he took it upon himself to personally create linkages and networks and to meet international investors at home and abroad, Shikongo said. He added, Namibia is a constitutional democracy due to the persistence and resilience of Dr. Geingob. This can ensure us as Namibians and as employers that the peace and calmness will prevail so that we all can be strong and deliberate in contributing to our country's economy. Let's take a look at our financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.84, against the euro at 20.42, against the US dollar at 19.01, $2 Namibian and 64 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, all major commodities went down, with Brent crude oil trading at 0.64%, going for $77 and 59 cents per barrel. After the break, we take a look at our international news. Do stay with Sunset News.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Is het van stijl, maar dan komt uit de rol hier aan die positie. Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads.
You might be physically ready, your body is ready, but mentally.
Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Vindo Kahana.
Sy sê wie hy is dan neertrek en daai bal het my grond gepad. Ja, hy het grond gepad. En is hy
But just enough next.
Running that mountain up. Okay, so we will be doing this for the mountain climber. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love that. I love that. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one.
Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV.
Getting into our international news, police made arrests and fired tear gas as opposition supporters protested President Macky Sall's decision to postpone elections in Senegal. Now, clashes erupted on Sunday as federal lawmakers prepared to debate a bill to formalize the delay of the February 25th vote. Now, demonstrators rallied in the capital, Dakar, after leading opposition figures and candidates in the presidential election rejected Saturday's announcement and called on citizens to defend democracy. Meanwhile, ECOWAS, West Africa's regional bloc, called for dialogue among those arrested as the protest spread was former Prime Minister Aminata Traore as well as Anta Babka Ngom, one of the candidates in the postponed vote. The government cut the signal of private television channel WALF as it broadcast the protest live. The New York-based non-profit committee to protect journalists condemned the move in a post on social media platform X, urging Senegalese authorities to ensure that journalists can work without hindrance. Now, ahead of the postponement, Senegal had already been embroiled in political tension as the disqualification of two opposition candidates had triggered deadly clashes. Sall's call to delay the vote cited a dispute between the judiciary and parliament over the final list of candidates. At least 2 of the 20 candidates said they would proceed with their campaign scheduled to kick off on Sunday. Now, Sall's tenure is scheduled to end on April the 2nd. However, Senegal's electoral code requires 80 days notice for a ballot, suggesting that the earliest that a vote could now take place is the last week of April. Reappealing the decree that had set the electoral process in motion, Sall cited the dispute between the judiciary and federal lawmakers over the disqualification process and the reported dual nationality of some of the qualified candidates. After the break, we'll be taking a look at our weather predictions.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Let's take a look at what the weather forecast looks like for tomorrow. Henties Bay can expect partly cloudy conditions. Katamamulilo can also expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 21 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 37 degrees Celsius. Windhoek can also expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 31 degrees Celsius. The Swakopmund can also expect some partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 20 degrees Celsius. Aranos can also expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 25 degrees Celsius. We'll return with the sports with Ari Hokart.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraita. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with English Premier League football. And a big result for Arsenal. Arsenal beat Liverpool. That game was played at home at Arsenal and they beat them by 3-1. Significant for them because they're just 2 points behind Liverpool, that's leading the English Premier League at the moment with 51 points after 23 games, and Arsenal now 49 points after 23 games. And Manchester City, the defending champion, they 46 points, but they have played 2 games less than Liverpool and Arsenal. It was an important victory for Mikel Arteta, the coach of Arsenal, and it was Leandro Trossard that scored the third and deciding goal for Arsenal in that game. Other games that was played, Wolverhampton, they had an away win against Chelsea by 4-2, and then it was also Aston Villa, they had an away win against Sheffield United, quite a big win by 5-0. That put them up into 4th position on 46 points after 23 games, and then Manchester United also beating West Ham comfortably by 3-0, and that means that the Manchester United up to 6th position on the English Premier League log. They've got 38 league points after 23 games. And continuing international sports news with cricket news, and the second test between England and India concluded, and it's India winning the second test. That game was played in Visakhapatnam, and they won that game by 106 runs. It was England chasing 399 runs, a big score in their 4th innings. They were bowled out for 292 runs. The player of the match in the second test was Yaswal of India. He scored 209 in the first innings of India. With the win, it is India that now level the series by 1-1, and it is a 5-test series, 5 games that they will play in the 5-test series, and it is the 3rd test that will start on the 15th of February. Also, ODI 50-over ODI series played in Australia. It is Australia hosting the West Indies. Australia clinching that 3-game series, and they won the second one by 83 runs. It was Australia batting first, 258 for the loss of 9 wickets, and West Indies replying with 175 all out, with Josh Hazlewood, the best bowler for Australia, 3 wickets for 43 runs. And to conclude today's international sports news, it is golf news from the DP World Tour, the Old European Tour. Dylan Fratelli of South Africa winning the Bahrain Championship with a total of 13 under par. 2 shots better than Xander Lombard, also from South Africa, and then Jesper Svensson of Sweden, also 11 under par. And Fratelli last won on the DP World Tour, the European Tour, in 2017, 6 years ago, when he won the Mauritius Open. And Fratelli had a tough 2023. He wanted to retire after the 2023 season. He mostly played on the US PGA. He played 27 events, only made 4 cuts. So in fact, he had 23 tournaments that he didn't make the cut. So he almost retired, but he kept on going and he won the Bahrain Championship. Also good for him on his world rankings. He was number 434 in the world rankings before this Bahrain Championship. With the win, he moved up 243 positions. He's now number 191 in the world. That is Dylan Fratelli of South Africa. That's international sports news for today. I hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
That concludes the show. Before we say goodbye, we'd like to add that Namibia is still mourning the passing of President Dr. Hage Geingob, and Namibia Media Holdings would like to extend our condolences to the relatives, close friends, and the nation at large. This has been Sunset News. From me, Glenn Rashipura. Until next time.